What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Foodie show. Again, Dude Network is powered by Garage Beer. A little excited.
All day.
Glad y'all could be here with us.
Let's go.
Mm-mm.
Dude,
Welcome to another Sunday. Hey, yeah. What's going on down here? What do we got down here?
Hey,
I don't know. We'll let anybody on this show.
I'm just
Yeah,
I'm just tired of the inmates running the asylum. I'm tired of the inmates running the asylum. I had to come
That's
in.
definitely not true because the
Yeah.
inmates effing crushed it. So we know that's not true. Welcome everybody to another Foodie show.
I felt like I just wanted to be a part of the best show.
It's your boy, John Z, your better boy, Damon, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Tony Dollars, a.k.a. The Dude Network, thedudenetwork.com. It's all here. It is exciting.
Boss man.
The boss man's here tonight.
Uh-oh.
And
by the way, this real life who made an appearance on last night's show with a previous recorded question. He wasn't there to watch it, I don't think so.
Everybody should go back and watch that because we set Tony up for a wild, having fun party show, and then we hit him, boom, and right in the beginning with the feels.
Right in the gut check. Gave me a gut check. Right.
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely.
Right in the kisser.
Yeah, right in the emotional gut sack. That's what they call it, the gut sack.
Got to keep you on your toes, man. What do you got to keep you on your toes?
Hey, and it's like, hey, Damon, what is it? I'm sorry. I'll let you say it. Around
layers. It's layers of entertainment.
Layers.
Right.
Pinky out entertainment.
Pinky out entertainment. You got to make sure that thing's.
Well,
yeah,
we are talking fancy food tonight, so we should probably maintain pinky out.
So yes, we don't want to get too far into it. Remember, everybody, the dudenetwork.com is live. We got a merch store, bios, everything you need to be plugged into the Dude Network right there. Thank you, Damon.
With more coming.
Network.com. And there's definitely more will be revealed. There's more coming. So stick around, stay plugged in. But we are not here to blab on about us and blah, blah, blah. We like Damon was saying, layers of entertainment, right? So last week we did a little layup for this week. We talked about tapas over in Spain, and we had such a good time. Tony was like, hey, I could reach out to this guy, and Tony, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, a good friend of the show, Anthony Margarina, is always doing amazing food reviews of downtown Chicago and the surrounding Chicago metropolitan area. And it was literally like a godsend. Like 2 weeks ago, he did, did the tapas review at Chef Ben's restaurant here. College was Wild, and I know it's on his thing. I forget the name of it. I had it written down, then I left my notepad upstairs. All I know is the food looked like I wanted that shrimp, though. Oh, God, that shrimp.
Dude.
Like, oh, man.
Just wait.
I'm just excited. Anyway, so with that being said, I was like, wow, we were literally talking about tapas. I've never really heard of a tapas restaurant here in the States. What are the odds? And then he actually followed me, and I was like, well, all right. I think we should easily be able to, for some reason, the guy made a terrible life choice. Like, we can get right to the inbox here. Let's reach out and see if he can come on. And Johnsy's day was made when he said yes.
Right.
And mine too. I was also excited, but I mean, Johnsy's been like the head of this head of this spear point on this for a minute. Nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in love with tapas since I've heard of it. It's like on my number one place to travel and my wife. So there is a chance, folks, to go to Spain. And I want to do the tour, San Sebastian, Madrid, Barcelona, like all the, there's one I'm missing. It starts with an M. I'm sure he knows about it. And this gentleman is making some killer dishes, bringing that over here to the States, that kind of flavor profile, plating, meals, dishes, all that good stuff. and I'm impressed. You should be impressed. Without further ado, Chef
And the
Ben. Oh,
of Tapas del Lago.
yeah, that's what I
the
said.
one. Yeah.
It
Del
was
Lago.
it was really driving me nuts. I'm sorry that I ruined
I said
the
it.
intro.
I said it for you, buddy.
Oh, my
That's
bad.
okay.
I
I
got
wasn't paying
receipts.
attention because I was trying to look it up myself. Anyway, yeah, I ruined the intro. Good job, Tony.
Ben
Hi, Chef.
Brittsan. Brittsan?
That's right. Brittsan, yes. Yeah,
Brittsan.
Brittsan.
Yeah, Chef Brett or Ben's here tonight with us. Chef who's here. That's why I say chef. That's what
We just push it all together, make one good name. It works too, you know.
Yeah. Anything
No,
but dinner
Ben
is
is
what I
fine.
go
Yeah, but thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I love the show.
No,
All right.
seriously,
Appreciate
this is
you.
way more of a treat for us. Well,
Yeah.
for me. I'll say.
Yeah. Well, no, I think we can put this is a bundle package here on this one.
Right.
I don't even do the Sunday shows. I was so excited.
So, if you don't mind, let's just start at the beginning, everybody. What made you want to become a chef? What got you inspired to cook? I know you went to 2 different schools for cooking. I can't remember the first one, but I know you went to the Cordon Bleu too. So, did you always know you wanted to be a chef? Was it something that came later?
It was something that I early on, regardless of, I mean, it was whether it was my dad barbecuing in the back. My parents, I will say, God bless them, much better cooks now than they were when I was a kid. And I don't know if that's just because of food TV or just because I'm a chef and that's what I do, but much better cooks now than back in the day. But watching my dad barbecue, my mom, making cookies and things like that. I think I just loved food and I love culture and I just was just drawn to making things. It could be my ADHD as well. And since
Welcome to the Dude
plus
Network.
food, that's the cooking,
Right.
and that's where it kind of originated from. And just a little backstory on me before I even went to culinary school. Was a junior of high school. The first college was Kendall College, which was in Evanston,
that's
the
what it
original
was, yeah.
campus. And they had a culinary camp in which Charlie Trotter, the late Charlie Trotter, would come and kind of invite these, us youngsters to his restaurant after the camp at Kendall College, kind of the last, sort of the last hurrah, before we, graduated. We go to Charlie Trotter's restaurant. So we went there, and during the meal, went around the table to everybody that was in the culinary camp. And he's, asked a question, blah, blah, blah. What would you like to answer? I said, what made you want to become a chef? Exactly the same question you just asked me. And he gave his answer. And I said, well, can I work for you?
Ooh.
That was my question, and, alongside what made you want to become a chef? My sort of a quick follow-up. I said, I want to work for you. I'd love to work for you. And he said, sure. So that's kind of where my culinary adventures sort of began.
Thank you.
What an incredible person. I mean, anybody who's anybody in the city of Chicago who's a higher up in the industry, fine dining chef, not fine dining chef, but his name is just synonymous with degustation menus along with Rick Bayless and just the epitome of fine dining, at the time. And when Michelin came, and they gave him the 2 Michelin stars instead of 3. That's what kind of set him over the edge, and that's, I think, why he closed. Because he's like, what? I don't know if I can swear on the show, but fuck, he was pissed. I've done all the stuff for the city. Why didn't I get my 3 stars? But all these newbies are coming in getting 3 stars, and
right.
To the curb. And I think that anyway, segue back.
Chefs are known to have a little ego chip on their shoulder.
Well,
too,
hey,
right?
and we're cool. We're cool with talking shit on the politics here a little bit.
Yeah, there is.
especially
Oh,
the
there
chef
definitely
world.
are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm saying,
Okay.
but chef, that's their soul, man. You're basically saying
Right.
your heart and soul is a 2-star. Yeah, they get
Right,
pissed.
exactly, Tony.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's very political. And then when we I'm sure we discuss further getting into Europe and tapas in Spain, Michelin is completely different in Europe than they are here. The standards are entirely different. Night and day. But that was my first, and then working for some other people in the city, going to Europe, traveling, and then falling in love with Spain and falling in love with tapas and the culture. That's what really drew me to tapas. But I've been a fine dining chef for 25 years.
Hey, you've been a part of one or two private chef organizations. Right now, it's the North Shore Private Chefs, I believe.
Yeah, that's a
Right?
company that I started in 2005,
Right.
shortly after sort of finishing up my, you know, my my tour of the city and working with different chefs in the city.
Right.
I just fell in love with cooking for people, and not falling out of love with restaurants, because I love restaurants, but just really just engaging with people, and just sort of having that intimate moment, whether it's 4, 6, 8 people, but having the
Right.
menus change,
Right.
having this everything change, and just being able to connect versus throwing food out for endless hours a night, 18 hours a day, you know, especially working those fine dining restaurants. It's rough. And that's when I started North Shore Private Chefs, and we've been running that ever since.
So, real quick, we're going to get to Tony and Damon real quick because I know they got questions. I'm sorry I'm nerding out, gentlemen, but
No.
I do want to touch on that because you have worked in restaurants. We're going to get into this later, but you have worked for some really big names in the industry,
Yeah.
and you also own a killer restaurant yourself and run private chef. So that's
Yeah.
my whole thing is like the brick and mortar versus that kind of private chef cooking, and it's you hear what they kind of want, imagination, just going to town, get to experiment, which you can do at restaurants, but restaurants in my brain require a certain I came here, I really like this, I want that again. And if you don't have that again, it's like, why would I come back? So it's like
Very true.
it limits a little bit. Can you speak to those two things?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just to touch on what you said and to follow back on what I probably was just blabbering about earlier is when I fell in love with really that find the private chef aspect. It's exactly that. It's where the menu is completely dynamic based on what the customer wants. And I think and this is not to promote North Shore Private Chefs at all, but I think one things that differentiates us between other private chef companies or larger companies, and we're more boutique kind of a thing, is that we really customize each menu for that client. I'll send menus out, what's in season, how many courses they want, give them some, kind of a choose your own adventure kind of thing based on the courses that we do. But we don't like this. We don't like lobster. We don't eat pork. This is our dietary restrictions. This is our religion. This is what we eat. This is what we don't eat. And we can curtail a menu based on that. And I'm able to serve food and cook food that I really want to eat.
Right.
The food that I would eat, and food that I would cook that I would eat, not just serve it because I think it's, trendy or in or, it's the
For the
molecular stuff
gram,
one
right,
time ago.
right.
Yeah, just all that stuff. I love doing that stuff, and when it's needed, I'll do it. But and then versus the restaurants where you know touch on the tapas menu. We have over 40 dishes on our menu, and every once in a while we'll 86 something. It's because we bring in very high end product, and if we're out, we're out. I'm not going to serve anything that's subpar. Um, but yeah, you got to stick to those standards. It has to be it's exactly what you said. It has to be. It's just it's a machine. It's a factory at that point, and
Right,
you just lay it
right,
out.
right.
Mhm.
Which I feel in your style, opening a tapas restaurant that gives you a little more. You get to kind of play around. It's fun. The atmosphere and vibe of that kind of style restaurant, especially. I mean, it says right on on your website, Taste of Spain, and if you're modeling it after the tapas area districts of Spain, I don't know why we don't. I don't know why that's not popular here. I have no idea why that's not a thing all over the world. It looks
Right.
like the most
I
magical
should
thing.
have asked, and I'm sorry if I don't know. Where are you all located?
Oh, you're right. Right. So I'm from California,
Okay.
Mhm.
like dead smack in the middle.
Okay.
Go ahead, Damon.
Oh, I figured you were gonna speak for me.
Stop it. Here we go.
No, I'm from South Carolina,
And
and
Tony,
Tony was from Ohio.
who should be back. He's from Ohio.
Okay. Very cool. My parents are from Ohio.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, Cleveland and Lakewood. So
Oh,
Oh, we're big fans of Cleveland, and he's like an hour and a half south,
yeah.
but his heart is in Cleveland
No,
sports and
absolutely.
all that. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Damon,
Very
what
cool.
you got, buddy? I don't want. Look.
No,
I
you're good.
I got a page of questions.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
But before we go too far into the topic side of it, kind of staying where we're at right now, how many years you said you was spent some time abroad? How many years did you spend studying and cooking abroad?
Well, it was more traveling and just really researching. So I mean, even before I got over there and before I really kind of took the tapas to the next level. It was a ton of studying and working with chefs here and
Okay.
their influence of sort of bringing the international, more European flavors into their cuisine. That really sort of triggered that as well. And there was a couple, and I also consult. So, and there was a restaurant in Northfield, which isn't too far away from where I live,
Mhm.
that actually changed owners 3 times. It was a tapas restaurant all throughout the time, and I went in there to consult for them. And that's actually where I really was like, okay, how am I going to fix? Because I was familiar with tapas and I loved it, but at that point in time, I hadn't really I was more fine dining. I didn't
Okay.
really I wasn't really over in the tapas realm. And
Right.
it was just a lot of studying and a lot of talking and working with purveyors and tasting things and tweaking things. And at that point, I'd never been to Spain, and that was back in the early 2000s. That was actually 2005 when I started my catering company after leaving Charlie Trotter. So I've done a lot of stuff. If my,
Okay.
my resume would look it looks horrible. It's really bad because it bounces all over the place. Doesn't matter anymore because I guess I work for less.
Nah, it's
But
well rounded.
But
You just don't
but
know how to fluff up a resume, chef. You gotta fluff that thing up.
but there are times when you look at that and you're like, okay, he kept going to the next best place, or you're like, oh, this guy just couldn't hold a job. So there's a difference,
probably a little bit of both.
right?
You know,
Well, I
um,
mean, hey, we all if you worked in restaurants at all, you get it.
yeah. I mean, and I think, I mean, especially in Chicago, which I mean, I don't know how much time you guys have. I love Chicago, and I'll jump back to where I was. Great restaurants. I don't think Chicago has the best restaurants
Oh,
in this
don't
in the
tell
state
Anthony
by
that.
far.
Don't tell Anthony that.
No, I
I
mean, and God bless. I
yeah.
love Anthony to pieces, but yeah. I mean, Chicago has some very very great restaurants, but that's then going back into the whole Michelin thing, where
Which is a
restaurants have
kind of
sort
a
of.
bogus system anyway to begin with. Am I
I think in the States it is. I think in Europe,
right?
and
Right.
again,
Hey,
because
so real
I
quick, can you
befriended. I'm
touch
sorry.
on the difference? Can you touch on that difference real quick?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, when I befriended Marco Pierre White, who was Gordon Ramsay's mentor, so he
Yeah,
wrote the book White Heat, right? Yeah. Bow down to that guy. So I was in Harrogate with him a
we're
couple of
bowing
years ago.
down to you because you've even met him. So
Oh, I was on the border. I mean, it was a very awesome experience for me.
right,
That man, just listening to him speak about food, his philosophy. He's a philosopher, not only a phenomenal chef, but an incredible philosopher and a great human being. And lived a rough life and went through a lot of shit to get to where he was, for sure. But if you listen to him, same thing. And I don't think he's been to the States quite a bit, but not as much as. But even he's like, you can be a phenomenal chef and have 3 Michelin stars, but it doesn't mean that you know how to cook. You just understand the system.
Mm. Mm.
And
mm,
that's
mm,
going back to cooking for what Michelin wants and what the customer wants versus
bingo,
cooking because it's an extension of yourself as a person. That's what
right,
cooking is. It's an art,
right.
and it's
Thank you.
Mhm.
and it's that's where Michelin gets it wrong. And I think that's why a lot of chefs, besides Curtis Duffy, and I'll plug him for sure, of ever, Curtis Duffy, who opened Grace, he has was it on Netflix? An incredible chef who also overcome incredible obstacles, has this restaurant ever, that should be 3 Michelin. It's only 2 right now.
Oh, here we
Incredible.
go again.
Yeah, it's an incredible 2 Michelin star restaurant. It should be 3. Charlie Trotter meets Alenia Grand Agate. This amazing molecular kind of
Wow,
thing,
wow.
but with Charlie Trotter's phenomenal method of cooking. And you put them together, and that's Curtis Duffy. It's ridiculous food. It's incredible. You want to come to Chicago? Go to Ever. It will be the best fine dining experience that you'll ever have. At least in Chicago, maybe the States, besides French Laundry. But
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to that, but first, Tony, I know you got.
I don't think I answered anybody's question. I'm just talking, but
No, you
No,
are.
hey,
Yeah,
welcome
it
to
actually
the Food
did.
Network. It's
Well-
more of a social, like we describe it as sitting around the campfire. It's our campfire, and you just pulled up a chair and we're like, "Hey, man, we're just talking about food, so just hop on up."
Cozy, this is great. I'm also
Yeah.
drinking a little Faustino Gran Reserva, Tapas name. There we go, 2011. So this is nice.
I'm drinking
So-
garage beer. Do you have this
Oh,
available
cheers.
in your establishment? And
No,
when are
but you know what?
when-
If I'm ever on this again, I will make sure to cheers you guys with the same beer. But I'll cheers with this.
no, hey, cheers with that. No, we
Yeah,
don't give
absolutely.
instructions. This is
Hey, yeah.
America.
Hey,
You can drink
there
whatever the
you
hell you want. We don't make people do things. I mean, that's not our style. Yeah, sorry for I think my internet's back up to speed. I had to do a
Yeah,
hard
you're
restart.
pretty good right now.
Yeah,
dude.
you're
Yeah,
good. now.
when in doubt, restart everything and just
Yes.
hop out. So I heard something about there was like Cleveland. So I don't know. I glitched out so many times. Did we bring up Cleveland at all?
Yeah, my parents are from Ohio, so yeah, Cleveland, like
Cleveland,
Lakewood. Yeah.
Oh, shout out, home of Branch. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So how much of that influence then in your tapas, or is there any kind of I don't know. I'm not aware of a lot of Spanish influence in Cleveland. Am I missing it out on that, or because I know it's a lot of
No, I
Eastern European, like Italian, Polish, Irish, a
Yeah.
lot of like Catholic, denomination
For sure.
groups and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's a
I
real
don't-
thing. I'm not being. No, he knows
Hey,
I'm not.
No
yeah,
one
there's a
said
lot-
anything, Tony.
your body language is a very telling language.
Oh,
John. Yeah. Anyway,
Jeez, man.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there very well might be. The last time I was there, I ate at both Michael Simon's restaurants. I don't know if they're still around.
Mabel's on 4th.
Is it Mabel's? Okay.
The barbecue one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's by the yeah.
I should remember, but
I did a review there last year. It's one of the coolest barbecue menus I've ever been to because you can get like pig's tails, pig feet, like all the crazy like barbecue like that was traditional to I forget what Simon heritage is. It was either like Polish barbecue, Eastern European, or something like that.
It's really
or
cool.
Western European. Yeah. Anyway, vinegar based. And I won't see an ounce of red sauce in it.
really, that sounds delicious.
Bourbon bar for days too. But anyway, yeah, love his stuff. Is he probably like would you say he's the king of Cleveland?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was in that book Soul of a Chef that Mark Rollman wrote.
Oh,
I
forgot about
was
that.
I mean, I don't know if that was the second one or third, but it was Michael Simon, and he had a restaurant. Was it Lola?
Yeah, that's the
Cleveland?
original one. That I think Mabel is his grandma's name, and then I forget what Lola. It's the name of another female in the family. It's dedicated to.
But what
yeah,
it
that's
was,
the
I mean,
original.
if you haven't read it, read it. Is awesome. It is such a cool book, and just explain. This was before Food Network. This was before
Right.
he had come on, and I don't even remember how he kind of got his fame.
The
Food Network
original
for
Iron
sure.
Chef.
Is that what it was?
He was he was the first Iron Chef, is my understanding.
Okay. But what a cool book, and what a cool person. I mean, just going down in the basement, lighting up a Camel Light, watching the numbers on the POS, coming back up, working the line. I mean, just a working. He was a working chef, and just the way he climbed up the ladder and where he is now, super cool.
Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Cleveland, we got a buddy from Cleveland in the house that asked a question. I want to get to a question from the audience real quick, Chef, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. Fun.
Our buddy Fatty, Legal Ham to the Face, Chef, what is some of the favorite things you truly love to cook?
It's a great question. Whatever is in season.
This is a big topic we're going to get to with you.
I love it.
Which really doesn't answer the question at all, because it could be an endless supply of things. But when it's fall, I think my favorite time to cook is in fall, right when it starts to get that cool breeze, the cool weather. You want to start braising things, cheaper cuts, cooked well, whether it's some sort of a chuck. I mean,
Prince of
for me,
Prince of
Is it the less you do to food, the better. The more you do to food, the more you take away from food. So just an easy chuck roast,
dude.
just vegetables, some mirepoix, just some mashed potatoes, maybe a salad on the side. Like I'm really easy when I cook at home. That's what I like to cook. It's not fine dining. It's not foo-foo stuff. It's just good cooking and family style. Because when you try and portion it up, whether you're having a dinner party, 6, 8 people, it's tepid. By the time you break it up. So I love family style. Serve it in the pan at the table, and let everybody help themselves. That's how I love to cook.
Oh my god, dude!
All right,
So,
well,
real quick,
this guy got cooler.
Right, you brought it up, cooking in season, and this is one of the things that if anybody knows who you are, or has looked you up or anything, you're very big about cooking in season. Can you? We have touched on that actually on this show. And can you explain to us why you cook in seasons and for the seasons, in the seasons, your whole philosophy behind that?
I mean, obviously you're going to get the best and the freshest. I mean, when everybody says in season, or one, it depends on where you're at in the world because seasons are different globally versus just in Ohio or just in Chicago. Things come out at different times, out of the ground, different times. But we're really talking produce because animals we can essentially get year round, but we're really talking produce and springtime, the spring peas, the asparagus, things like that. Berries have a short kind of span. Peaches and the stone fruits and that sort of a thing. And then you get the crazy produce when you get away from the States and go into the UK and you go into England and northern England and to Ireland and stuff. The produce is absolutely ridiculous. I think England probably has some of the best produce in the world. It's
really?
The rhubarb.
Wow, okay.
The rhubarb in the UK is ridiculous. And I'm not a big rhubarb fan, but you go into, where I was in Harrogate, or you go into North Yorkshire and you have a rhubarb tart in season. Holy crap. It's ridiculous.
Because I
like
haven't
candy.
had any rhubarb that I'd get excited about ever.
There's
No,
no
not here.
strawberry rhubarb pie I'll get into.
Yeah. But you're not, you go into the southern states and you get the cobblers and the peaches and all of that stuff. You're not having that in Minnesota. It's just so you might as well get frozen produce, which is perfectly fine, which a lot of people also don't talk about. If you get beautiful organic frozen product,
Bingo.
It's picked at the perfect time, frozen at the perfect time. You're not going to get probably yield the exact same result, but the flavors there.
The closest,
but in season, yeah.
And we brought that up on this show before. Just if it's not in season, typically picked at this time of year, there's a chance it's not the freshest you think it is.
Totally.
Now, there are great things going on hydroponically and this and that where you can grow things year round. I'm not speaking anything about that. But if you're looking in your regular grocery store that's access to the regular person, the more in season you can focus on is the fresher you can guarantee yourself is getting. So, and that's important.
Well,
right. If you're in the Midwest and you see heirloom tomatoes in January, there's a problem.
Yeah, the flavor.
Where are they coming
of them is the problem.
Yeah,
they're just you're just eating a tomato. You got to season it to get anything out of it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, even if you leave it in the sun on your,
leave it
exactly.
in a paper bag for 3 days on the counter. Yeah,
all that nonsense. It's not nonsense. With berries, it works at least in the summertime. But yeah, none of that stuff. Nothing's going to ripen an unripened tomato from Mexico. Not that there's anything wrong with produce grown in Mexico, but not in season. They have a very hot climate, but it travels a ton, and it's again not as fresh, like you said, as many think when they get it.
Right.
So you just don't know.
Damon, what you got?
I was going to say, before we start going too deep into it, I mean, explain from your point of view what tapas actually really is.
Oh, here we go.
Sure. Yeah, let's get into the tapas thing. So, So when you go to Spain, the act, so a lot of people say, at least in the States, let's go for tapas. Well, what is that? It can really be anything. If it's indigenous to Spain, it's tapayad. Tapayad in Spain is going out for tapas.
Yeah.
So it's actually a thing. It's not a food. It's not a kind of food. It's actually what you do. It's tapayad. We go for tapas. And it's not just one tapas bar, it's a dozen.
Right.
It's a tapas crawl. And it's just not just what it's not one day of the week. It's when you go for tapas, it's just what you do. It's small plates. Sorry, that's Otis cat in the background. Siberian. He's a little bit of a douche, but he's a good boy.
Otis.
Hey, they all are.
But
aren't they?
Yeah, that's what they do. They love onion and they piss you off.
That's it. But small dishes could be larger dishes. Some you have the Ibericos. You have the Serranos. You have those things that are totally authentic and indigenous to any given area that you have. The hams, the gambas al ajillo, the pipiranas. You have all
the
that stuff.
langostine and this and that.
The langostinos, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The paellas, the paella negra, the all that stuff. Some better than others, and a lot of people will be of course, paella is probably the most picky thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
to each their own. And I'll get into kind of how we make ours later, which a lot of people don't understand. Because we serve ours in a cazuela. We don't serve ours in a paella pan. And there's a bunch of different reasons behind why we do that. Oh yeah. I'll be happy to even come on here later on. I'll take you into the kitchen and we'll make a paella on the show. And I'll show you guys how we do it. We do it in 15 minutes. You don't have to wait 45.
Dude,
so
that's you sold your soul to the devil right there. We're gonna make that happen.
Yeah.
That's okay. Anytime you want. Anytime you want. But back to your question, Damon. It's anything you want. So now, and same thing in Italy. So I travel in Italy a lot because my wife's from Italy and she has tons of family there. But
lucky.
When you make tapas, or a lot of people are like, oh, are these appetizers? No, it's how you make your meal. So it's a bunch of different small plates, little cazuelas. Have 2, have 5, have 6. Keep the menu. When you're finished, pick up the plates, order 5 more, for the group to share. Have your sangria. Although sangria is not, probably misconception in the States, the most, widely drank alcoholic substance in Spain. It's not. It's vermouth.
Vermouth. I was going to say.
It's probably wine, but vermouth is a fortified wine. But so this is one of the vermouth we share. I got a bottle of it to say, and cidre ciders as well. But this vermouth,
right?
Yeah. So when you went to Spain, did you ever do the La Hora de Vermouth?
No, I haven't been there yet. I haven't been.
Oh, you haven't been there yet?
I just know a lot about it.
One of these days, it'll be a Dude Network meetup thing where we do.
Oh, that's super cool. Well, maybe let me know. I'll meet you guys there. Between 1 and 3, or 2 and 4, 2 and 5, you get La Hora de Vermouth. So you go in there, and they have whatever tapas bar you're in. Hopefully, relatively one of quality, which isn't hard to find in Spain.
Right.
They'll have these vermouths on tap, almost like beer. I mean, like beer, but it's on tap in the glass. And a lot of people think it's for martinis. In Spain, it's not. It's on the rocks with orange and olives, and you sip on this stuff, and you have your pinchos, and when you explain it to people, especially at Tapas del Lago, they're like, vermouth? Like, I don't want to sip on a glass of this shit. I'm used to, it's in you have a martini? And then we bring them out a little sample, try it, and they're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever had. Because it tastes like a cocktail just in itself. It's so delicious. And there's hundreds and hundreds of different vermouths. I fell in love with this one. It's called Mata. And he's a very famous winemaker and vermouth maker in Spain. But so we have the Rioja, we have the vermouth Blanca Reserva and the Roja Reserva. And that's what we do. It's delicious. But that's typically what you would drink with tapas. You drink wine with tapas, and sangria may be third. It's in the States, it's first. Give me a pitcher or 5 pitchers of sangria, and then the vermouth is probably last. Wine, people buy some bottles, but the sangria, people drink it up. In Spain, it's reverse. So
I have a question. Sorry,
Yeah.
John Z.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Johnny.
How screwed am I if I hate olives?
In Spain,
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
again,
Well,
if you don't like olives, leave them out. Okay. Seriously.
We'll take care of that, chef.
Yeah. He's out of the show now. Yeah, gone.
I
No,
hate
Oh.
it. I want to like that, man, so much. They always
No,
look so
dude,
delicious, but I
yeah.
can tell if there's a sliver in a bite. I've tried to mix it. I just can't do it. I hate it.
And you know what? That's okay. And
Bro,
that's
there's
okay.
a Tapas for everybody. I promise you that.
For sure, absolutely. And the coolest thing, I mean, especially in Spain, because I think it's and Italy, I would say before France, and not to hate on France, but they're
France,
super nice people. And if you engage, you're like, look, I don't like olives, they'll figure it out for you. If you don't like it, it's not a problem. Do you like olive oil?
Yeah.
There you go. Tons of olive oil. That's probably one
Dude,
thing you can't escape in Spain.
Yeah, Spain. If you
no,
didn't like olive
a
oil,
good-
you're screwed because they are number one.
Yeah.
Everybody might think it's Italy. Spain is number one in olive oil.
Yep.
One of my favorite snacks is just a nice dipping oil and like a good like baguette or like a
Spain's your
or
country.
something with like artisan bread with like a nice crust on it, man, to soak up that like Italian seasoning and the oils. Yeah, we're talking. I could eat.
Yes.
If that's tapas, then I could eat a lot of tapas.
Oh, you're good. If you're good with bread and oil, I think you won't. Yeah, they won't care about the olives.
Bring it. Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
I'm
back. I'm all the way back.
All the way back. He's back, folks. He's here. We got one more question from the audience. I don't want to miss it, so we're going to ask it. Yeah. Chef, what's the best city in Spain for tapas? Now, you've been there. Now, hold on. I haven't been there. I have my pick of where I really think I would really want to go, and that's in the Basque region of San Sebastian. I think that, and probably Barcelona would be my top two. Of course, if I make it to Spain, I'm going to every major city.
This is what John Z does. He starts with one, it goes to two, then he names all the regions, then you're left with nothing. So, like, yeah.
So
my number one would be San Sebastian.
San Sebastian, the Basque Country, yes. And then you have your Chocoli, which is a very cool wine, which is super fizzy. It's almost like an Albarino, but it has a little bit more brininess to it, and it goes brilliantly with the seafood because I mean you're right there.
Right there.
I would say probably Madrid. I mean it sounds probably cliche,
okay.
But in terms of I mean just like Italy and any and this is where this is it gets tough because then you start hating on the States because the States in terms of food is just a hodgepodge just full of just a mixture of different we're pushing a bunch of foods together,
right?
And you can get you go to Florida, you kind of can get the southern the fish there and the fried stuff, and then you come to Chicago and you can get the Italian beefs, but it's not like indigenous, super cool, super selective, foods from a particular region, where you can go to Spain and each region is different. In Italy, each region is different. It's just, it works completely differently. But so it's a tough question. So where are the best tapas in Spain? Honestly, wherever you're at that given time in Spain, go out and just, and just eat tapas, man. Yeah. Just eat tapas. But Madrid, you get you have the oldest restaurant in the world in Madrid, in Spain, where you get the suckling pigs.
That fire has been burning for what, 300 and something years?
Something like that. Longer than that. Longer than that.
Okay.
Longer than that. I don't exactly remember when they started.
Fire has never went out.
No, that oven and that fire has never gone.
Insane amount of years. It's
even
insane.
No, and they and I think somebody they sold a bunch of stuff, and a couple families had to move in because they sold stuff to keep the fire burning during. They never let it go.
That's what it was. The people or the family who's owned it is like 300 years now or something like that. But if the fire hasn't gone out and I don't know. And it's the most insane amount of time you could even add a couple hundred years on what you probably think it is.
Yeah.
Imagine how many cords of wood that thing has been.
Yeah. And for all the vegetarians out there, those little baby suckling pigs are absolutely delicious.
I want one so bad.
Yeah, they're delicious.
So that's the thing is I have no weirdness about that kind of stuff. Like, oh my gosh, it's a baby. Like, I want to experience. I tell these guys all the time, there's certain things I don't eat. It's a gag reflex thing. It's a whole thing.
Oh,
But
here we go.
if you are tapas hopping in Spain, you got to try it, right? Like, get the frick out of here.
Yeah, I mean, why else are you there? You know,
Right. If you look, folks, you guys are here. This is a foodie show. I've researched a whole lot of regions, and there are very few that compare even close to what Spain's got going on. It's crazy. Like, we know all the traditional cooking and like the fancy gourmet fine dining. We think of France and this and that, maybe some Italy for all the pastas and this and that. But if you're talking strictly foodie, you just want to go experience, because here's the deal, folks. Like we talked about last week, tapas is free. Certain tapases are free at the bars as long as you're
Richard?
hanging out and drinking, because it's about the community.
It is. You're very right. 100%. Yeah.
I want that.
Order some vermouth.
You don't hear that every
And again,
day.
back to the vermouth. If you order a couple of vermouths on tap, you'll probably get 4 plates, including your bread and oil. You know, not olives, yes, but you don't have to eat them.
I'll eat them.
Okay. And most likely some pinchos, you know, whether it's, you know, hot or cold things, maybe a couple slices of ham, maybe some melon. But you're absolutely right. You know, they're more about making sure that you're having a phenomenal experience, getting the appetite started, and then you can order. You know,
right.
it's super cool. It's very, very cool. And we try and do the same thing in the restaurant. I mean, we don't give the house away, but you know, we want to make sure that everybody has the same experience. And the first thing that Anthony said when he walked in was, wow, this is very reminiscent of Spain. It's loud, it's narrow. I mean, not all tapas bars are like this, of course, but we wanted something that was, you know, authentic, you kind of walked in through these doors, kind of authentic. You walk through the door and you're like, where am I? You know, where do we go? You're in Spain, you know. All the walls are black, the ceiling's black. You know, we have the fans like they normally do. You know, and you know we have the authentic. And there's not one thing that we cook. There's not 1 ounce of alcohol that's being served that's not from Spain. 0.
Wow, that's actually really impressive.
Garage beer, it ain't gonna make it in there.
Yeah, I mean that outside of some produce that we would source here that we don't get from Spain, but you know, all of the jamons, all the ibéricos, the chuletones, you know, all the stuff that we do, it's all.
I guess what's really nice about like the samples is samples, tapas. I would call it samples. Like,
it's tapas.
It's sample. Yeah, you sample it. That's it.
Yeah, you sample it. Yeah. Hey, that's the poor version.
It's the vibes, dude.
That's the Appalachian way of wording tapas. Just call it samples. That's how we're going to do it. We got the West Virginia shirt on. Yeah, that's the samples.
Yes.
So I guess, but what's nice about that is though, it's a chance for you to showcase the way to like really turn up a affordable cut to get them to be like, man, I should actually just get dinner here because that was really good. So it's also like an audition, like a little teaser, like, yeah, I'll give you a little sliver. You think that's good, you should get an entree. So is that kind of like from your business standpoint, is that like really critical to like master those cheaper cuts? Or are you giving out the occasional little slice of Iberico and the really high end stuff to show people what they're missing out on? Because I would do it like pork loin. You know, like,
well, I mean, we do, and we do.
Tapas, Tony.
80-20. Yeah, yes. Right. So yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, I mean, pork loin. I mean, it's called lomo de cerdo. The lomo is the loin, and lomo de cerdo is the pig. You know, in Spain, puerco would be in other Spanish, but the lomo de cerdo is what we serve, which is pork loin, but it's a Spanish pork loin, more expensive than your typical pork loin, but we will, you know, we'll break things out, just like you said, you know, put on some toothpicks, you know, try this. This is what we're doing. You know, just to get people involved. You know, that's really it. Especially people who, I mean, if somebody walks in, they go, "Oh my God, you just opened Tapas in Highwood. There isn't a Tapas place around here," and we're like, "We know. That's why we did it, so that you can enjoy yourself." They're like, "Thank you. You know, we'll have this, and we also numbered the menu." Which isn't a genius thing. We just did it though, because we know that most people can't pronounce these items. You know, so we'll have 2 number 2s, 2 number 14s, a 25, a 26. we write it down, and then we've allocated like that in the POS. So boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom, boom, and
So
everything's
you
done.
don't have
And
those people like, I'll take the
Oh, come on.
Here we go.
Chef, you got to set people up for failure.
dang.
Where's the humor? When I worked at a restaurant, and when I remember when people
Damon,
come to
perfect,
restaurant,
'cause I
it was
had
the
it if you
filet.
didn't.
It was the
Awesome.
filet mignon with the cabernet and the merlot.
love that.
Oh
And
man,
the lot.
like you lose that when you go number 2. Chef, we got to rethink this. Come on, man. Come on. Come on.
we
Let us
do- we-
inspire you. Let us.
I'll put the numbers in Spanish.
Yes.
We actually do have.
But put like number 7 in French just to really mess with people. Like,
We have said menu
That's hilarious.
available. Damon, you want to pull that up for us? So here it is, folks.
Oh, there we go.
I did not look.
And don't quiz me on the numbers, because I designed the menu.
Yeah,
But I did. The servers actually remembered all the numbers. I don't know the numbers.
that's not
You know,
your job,
so-
chef. That's not your job.
No,
You got
Thank
people
you.
for that now.
No, it's not. It's not my job. I probably should know, but
I
whatever.
can't wait to try to pronounce some of these. This is gonna be. I want Johnsy to pronounce some of them too.
Oh, I can't read them from here.
That's what I said. I was trying to make
But
it easy.
we'll go with number 9.
Here, let me try. Okay.
Okay, so we got the colds on the left, and what we try and do is steer people to, start with some colder stuff. The salads are in there too. We have so many dishes that we didn't really, separate the menu too much. And we didn't have a section for, soups and salads and all that sort of thing. Oh, you know what though? This is actually the wrong menu. This is the old menu.
Damon.
See, gosh,
Damon.
Oh, what? I guess that executive producer is gone.
You know what? Let me make sure that it's accurate on our website,
because that's comes straight from the website.
Yeah, that's from the website. It's the same one I have.
Is it really? Because if it is,
Yes, sir.
Oh, damn.
Oh, we just.
Can you show the menu again? Just to.
Yeah.
I wonder if the other portion just didn't show up. It should have. See how it has the. Oh, you can't see my phone at all. That's probably horrible. Oh, can't see my phone. Sorry. There's a grilled section on the left back, the corner on the back, a la parrilla, which means off the grill. So we have a grilled section on there. It should be on the right under. This is the old menu.
Yep.
Well, let's take a look at the old menu here. I'm gonna give you an idea of what you.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, that's okay. But anyway, we also have.
It should be. I mean, I would never come to a place with a dated menu on the website. That's just my own personal.
Here, I do have some pictures.
I did check it on the website. It is accurate on the website. So.
Okay. All right.
I apologize. I apologize. I don't know.
Seriously, that is you fit right in.
we do have some of Chef's creations.
You
go.
You do.
Well, we're pretty thorough here.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty thorough. Yeah, we did a deep dive on your Instagram.
Do we want to do that?
Let's do it.
Right. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break in case anybody needs to refill their glass, take a potty break or whatever. Damon, take us away, brother.
Here we go.
Commercial break.
Hey, how many of those have you had?
This is my first drink today. With my left hand.
What part was it?
Oh, the one where it's me, you, Damon, and Fatty from
I did miss
216 Network.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Fatty! Everybody tuned in last Friday.
Illegal ham, illegal ham to the face.
Illegal ham to the face. That was, by the way, I listened back to that show. He came into a shit show. And he just contributed to it. He just threw gas on the fire, and I
yeah, he did. He absolutely did. If you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself?
Oh, of course.
If you were a hot dog and starving, would you
That's
eat
about
yourself?
it.
Oh,
right.
I'm a monster.
I'm starting on my ass. I'm going to eat the ass first. Ass cheeks.
He's got. You heard it here, folks.
Ass cheeks.
Nope, it doesn't matter. It's already clipped.
Whatever gets us rich and famous, if that's what it does, and that's
whether it's head and KC or ass as a hot dog, he's getting it.
Yeah. Remember how we're saying ass hot dog, not a hot
Damon,
taco.
I just made Damon fall out.
Yes, sir.
I just made Damon fall out. Yes.
If the moon were made of cheese,
Jam don't
You
shake like
know.
jelly.
You know what I'm saying.
Hey, bonehead. Hey, I'm ready to go out there and get little bonehead out there. I'm about to get a little nut.
Dude, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah,
nope.
that-
I got
nope.
receipts right there.
Yeah.
I
Well,
hear-
let's delete
yeah.
those receipts because that was not true. We're going to say goodbye to Grubs. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. Let's go over this. Alyssa, I love you very much. I would never. Right back after these messages.
You know, you get nervous about meeting people that you really like in person. You know, especially for the first time, because you're like, God, I hope this person doesn't suck. That'd be such a letdown. And I can honestly say, when I first met Tina, it was like I already had known her, met her. It didn't even feel like the first time. Like it was really cool. Tina was an absolute blast to work with, and she bailed me out a little bit. You know, she definitely helped me out in some sticky situations here, but she was awesome. Colombia was awesome. Nombre, I hope we can get you to a couple of these things here next year.
Welcome back, folks.
I don't know if I want to get rid of that commercial.
That was exciting.
That's
Yeah.
the best one you've put together yet, sir.
Yeah.
And the
Yes,
one
Jeff.
before that was the best one you've ever put together. So here we are. Hey,
Jeff, wait
so,
till we
yeah.
clip the one about the menu. That'll be next week's commercial.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. There'll be yeah.
I'm joking.
So we did do a deep
Oh, that's my
dive.
bed. I'm not. That's my bed. You know, I need to fix my shit.
I know. Well, it's just
We
funny
did
because
a
you're like
deep-
really upset about it. We're not.
Yeah, right. It's par for the course for us.
We're just like, all right, cool. I was like, look cool.
So we did do a deep dive on the gram, Chef Ben.
Okay.
And
It's not me. I promise.
folks, this is
He says not me.
probably not
Okay.
what you're gonna get at the Taste of Spain Tapas restaurant. This is more of that fine dining stuff, but there's a reason I'm bringing it up. We ended the last show. We were talking about tapas with what tapas has now become in a lot of places in the U.S. So let's talk about this dry edge steak tartare.
Sure.
Ooh.
Mhm.
So that was that was for a private event. And if I remember correctly, it's a dry aged heritage Angus. We use the fillet for that, and there's some dehydrated beet. There's capers. There's red onion. I mean, you know, your typical stuff. And then there's some dehydrated egg yolk as well. And then, the picture. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, don't take the picture away. I don't remember everything I did. And then some dehydrated onion. So this was sort of a play on like the beef and horseradish kind of a thing. And then there's a horseradish aioli, a little lemon oil, very different. There's some fresh dill, a little watercress. Just super, super light. Just, you know, and with whenever you get any dish that seems, you know, that's you know, deconstructed in any way, mix everything together, you know, or not, but you know, do one of those kind of things on your plate so you can get everything together. So, you know,
right. Ooh,
there's that.
Hey, that was a
Yeah.
pro tip
Pro
right
tip.
there from the pro making that shit. So
Yeah.
write that one down. Folks.
Whether it's
That
my
was
food
great.
or,
That
you know,
was
go
great.
to, you know, Ever. Holy crap, is Curtis Duffy he
Right.
is a wizardry, culinary wizardry at its finest. Absolutely insane food.
Speaking of wizardry, what are these wands of fancy?
So that was for a really cool wedding that we did in Lake Geneva, and that's a heirloom tomato gazpacho, and then we did I believe it was a poached shrimp,
Right.
and just some edible flowers. But yeah, it was a gazpacho with a little sautéed, and then it was poached and then just in the slightly grilled gambas or shrimp.
Right.
Super easy, really fresh, light.
Yeah.
You know, dip the shrimp first, get the
Chili
little sauce, and then eat the soup.
Yeah, like United States women in basketball. Easy. Yeah.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna pull this one up right here.
Okay.
This is color.
Well,
Oh,
it's not. It's
he
not my.
remembers.
It looks kind of cool. Not my proudest moment. But that's
That's
those are
not a
scallops. You
proud
can't really see
moment?
them. It's not my proudest moment. It's a good dish. We've refined it since then, but I mean, I do like it. So, yeah, don't take the picture down yet. But the scallops, if you ever cook scallops, I see it, Tony. Well, this is fun. I like this too. Oh, where am I?
The
There we go.
Brady
There you are.
Bunch.
Yeah,
The
always
Brady
think the opposite.
If you ever cook scallops and you like corn, if you get some sweet corn or like a Marai sweet corn from Iowa or Ohio, and you make a cream corn sauce, that and scallops
Oh,
with a little bit of cilantro, just those three things
really?
is amazing. Corn and the scallops is probably it's like tomato basil, mushrooms
Stop
and
it.
Madeira, scallops and corn.
No.
Absolutely. So
So
we have
it's
that lighter yellow sauce. Yeah, so that lighter yellow sauce. You can't see me pointing, but is cream corn, and then we have a little sweet pea veloute. So and then a pea coulis, which is on the left side, so it's more green. The coulis is on the right. The sort of yellowish white sauce is the cream corn, and then we have a sort of a broken down sofrito, which is the base to your almost every Spanish dish in Spain, any hot
Right.
dish, your paellas is a
sofrito.
frito. So that's on top of the scallops. So very Spanish, but
Jesus.
also, yeah.
Great question, Tony. Chef, what's a sofrito?
Yes. What is sofrito?
Yeah.
I said I love sofrito. I know.
Oh yeah, sofritos. Yeah, I mean sofrito is
sorry, I
huge in
thought you
obviously
said
in the Latin culture, but the Spanish sofrito, for me, you have your celery, you have your onion, your garlic, your peppers, and tomato, of course. But that's that marriage of ingredients that makes a sofrito that goes into our
Everything,
champiñones, our paellas. That's when you get that rich, delicious, what they call the sacorat, which is that crust in the paella. If you didn't have the sofrito in there, you wouldn't get that crust.
Right.
So if you just cook the rice, you get kind of burnt rice. But the sugar and the tomato in the sofrito is what caramelizes that rice on the bottom of the paella, and that's what makes the sacorat. So making a very good sofrito in any Latin culture, but obviously Spain, because we're talking about Spain and tapas, is very important. If you don't have that, it's almost having like a basic tomato sauce in Italy. If you don't have that, you don't have anything.
Right.
Just
It's
your
the
basic
base,
tomato
the
sauce.
base,
Yeah.
the
No,
absolute.
I never had fresh sofrito. I worked with a company called El Loesa, and they had the red soho, the sofrito, and then they had like a spicy sofrito. They had jars of, and it was really good for jarred sauce. I mean, it was really, really crunchy, good texture. But I couldn't imagine what fresh sofrito would sound. But man, the scallops and sweet corn, man, you got me tripping
That's
a
what I'm
little
saying.
bit. Now I can
That's
only
what I'm
get frozen
saying.
scallops here, but I can get some damn good sweet corn. So I think I can take one frozen one and one fresh one with their powers combined. I'm gonna have to try that one, man, for real. I would
Right.
have
That's
I mean, I'd be happy.
would have
Yeah,
never
you want me to
guessed
explain the sauce? I can walk people through it. I can tell you how to make it.
Whoa,
Whatever you want.
No, they got to go follow you for that. We can DM you. That's our privilege. But
Okay.
they got to go. They got to make the connect. No. Look, hey, bro, we're all here to support each
John's
other.
like, this is mine. This is
No,
my connection.
no.
You will not.
Fun. You can have me on every week. I'll talk food whenever the hell you want.
There we go. There we
You heard
go.
it first, bro. You heard it first.
Hey,
Chef
Foodie Show with Chef Ben
Brittsan is committing to another foodie show every week.
Absolutely. I will. I'll do it. Want it in writing? I'll give it to you.
No, we will. We'll, dude. We would absolutely love trips in the kitchen, like you were saying earlier. That's
sure
100% guaranteed. We will make that happen. So one that's a little closer to my heart. How about this Sicilian tuna crudo?
Yeah, the tuna crudo. So I love crudos. Raw fish. So Sicilian style. So you have, as you can see, you have the raw tuna there, and then it's like a Sicilian gremolata. Oh, but Tony, not for you, because you have the cured black olives.
Oh,
you have capers.
Tony, sorry, buddy.
I know, I'm so sorry. And then we have a little, Meyer lemon aioli underneath, which you can't see. Microgreens, a Sicilian olive oil.
Meyer lemon aioli, folks.
Hey.
Are you hearing this, man?
And cucumber. And just to freshen up, just to lighten up the palate a little bit.
Brighten it up.
And that's it.
Right.
And that's really it. Super clean. And again, the more you do to food, the more you take away from food.
Right.
Keep it as it is. Just
So-
let Mother Nature show herself off. That's it. And that's all we do.
We've been showing you these now. Look, these are our dishes, salads, blah blah blah. He also does desserts. Here, I'm gonna not pronounce that right. Pantenone, bread pudding.
Panettone. Yes.
Panettone. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I mean, this is actually super easy. So get your favorite bread pudding recipe. Google to say best bread pudding recipe on Google, but substitute the bread or brioche with panettone, which you can get. Go to Whole Foods, go to Trader Joe's, whatever. But get a good one, not one that has the icing on it, though. Get one.
You heard it here.
Yeah, because the icing, it's too sweet. You got to shave the icing off. It doesn't do any good. But just get a really good panettone and substitute it in for whatever bread you're going to use, and it's night and day. If you don't like, can you say fruitcake on the air? But if it's
Yeah.
but it's like a very it's like a it's like a dense, but it's like the best brioche.
Yeah.
With with a little candied fruit in there. It's absolutely delicious. And I didn't like this stuff growing up, but when I went to Italy, I had a lot. I fell in love with it. So panettone French toast.
You go somewhere where it's made the way it's actually supposed to be made, and you're like, well, this is nothing like the shit I had at home.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I should have said Whole Foods, because they bring in stuff and then they charge $27,000 for a panettone, which is not
one loaf of bread, right?
For one loaf, one loaf of bread. Go anywhere else. Just get a good loaf of panettone and use it. And then we made a sea salt butterscotch, and we just drizzle that over the top. Which is
what was that last part? I don't think we heard you.
Sea salt butterscotch, and you have to stir it with a wooden spoon. If you don't stir it with a wooden spoon, it's not the same.
Oh, see,
you have to
Tony
mother it.
said I use wooden spoons because I'm from a certain group of people, not because it actually works for food.
What does that mean?
Can you explain?
I need to know what that means.
He said I use wooden
John,
spoons because I'm Mormon.
I
grew up Mormon. Can you explain to me? Can you explain to him why I actually use wooden spoons, please, Chef? Thank you.
I lumped the Mormons with the Amish one show on an impulse thing. It was not a good look, but anyway.
No, I think.
Chef, why do we use wooden spoons?
Well, one, I think it just tastes better. I mean, it's old school. It's and just for me, for some reason, if I was to use like a silicone spatula and mix the caramel or sea salt versus a wooden spoon, and also if you cook anything with a wooden spoon, you cook pasta with a wooden spoon, you put a wooden spoon on top of the pot where the pasta is boiling, it doesn't boil over. There's something about
wood, folks.
A wooden spoon or a wooden ladle, or just and any even bamboo will work better than a silicone spatula. But just a good wooden spoon could be 50 years old, probably even be better. An old school heirloom wooden spoon in a pot of caramel sauce, and you keep adding the cream, stirring it with a wooden spoon. Butterscotch, same thing. It's night and day. It really is.
We don't have heirloom wooden spoons in my house. My mom busted them all on my ass.
That also checks out.
That was a good say.
Yeah, we're all from the Midwest and California,
hey,
man.
Look, I know that we are really into meat and different stuff like that on the show, but I just wanted you to know that we did bring on a chef that does know how to do other things besides serve meat in a dish. Now, here is his presentation of a fall salad. Chef, can you run us through this? Masterpiece.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So this was this restaurant has since closed. This was my first restaurant that I ever did, called synonymous my name, Benjamin. Super pompous. But this was our fall salad. And outside of the mesclun greens that we got from Chef's Garden in Ohio, which is a phenomenal company, Chef's Garden. Mesclun greens. And it's layered with with dehydrated apple and pear. And we shaved those into chips. It was with, I believe, a grapefruit and tangerine vinaigrette with candied fruit, candied pecans, and I think there was a little bit of red pepper coulis on the outside. I think this was a long time ago.
Yeah. I
that
told
was
you it was a
delicious.
deep dive. I told you it was a deep dive.
Yeah, this is like deep cuts, but dishes.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
VH1 behind the music. Well,
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
You remember VH1 behind the music? This is Dude
I do.
Network behind the chef.
All right.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're making me think. This is good.
I have one for you. This is not going to be one of them. It's a bit layup here. All right. You're married to a beautiful woman from Italy. So you know the Italian food scene. And let's get down to it. We're taking a step away from tapas. You guys probably know where I'm going with this. Does pineapple have any place on pizza?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
However,
let's go. No, stop. Don't ruin your answer.
No. He's a chef.
No.
He's a real chef.
No. My first answer for sure, and I get it, is absolutely not. But in a restaurant, it's customer prerogative. So if you pay for it, then you can eat it. But in the grand scheme of things, you go to Italy and you order pineapple on pizza, you most likely will get kicked out.
Well,
most likely
out of your place. You got to start.
That's best case scenario.
Listen,
the second scenario that happens is the mob shows up and you don't go home.
Yeah, was it worth that $12 slice of pie then? No. Sometimes you got to stand firm on certain things, and we got to just take back pizza.
We can take back pizza. That's fine. And Anthony will kill me for saying this. Chicago. Should I say it on the show or no?
Yes.
We love
Chicago does not have the best pizza. Absolutely not.
Is it New York?
It's got
Is
good
it New York?
It's for sure. And why is it New York? Because it's closer to Italy. Because it's closer. It tastes more authentic.
Here first, folks.
I was gonna say the water filtration.
Actually, now hold on a second. Because the beginnings of pizza were the flatbreads they did for Queen Marguerite's tour. That's why the first pizza was named the Margarita pizza.
The Margarita, yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense because those people who did that would have ended up in New York first before Chicago. So that actually
which is why the accent New York is richer and more developed than it is in Chicago. For sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Johnson's hella cultured, man.
I mean, Chicago pizza is okay. I think Ohio actually has some pretty decent pizza too, but New York just it's if anybody's been to Italy to have the pizza, it's right there. You know, David Portnoy with his whole pizza review thing when he came to Chicago, whether you like him or you don't like him, his pizza reviews, you know, the pizza in Brooklyn is very, very close to Roman style pizza. I mean, and it really is. You know, I'm not a big fan of Neapolitan pizza, but the DeFara pizza in Brooklyn, you have the Ducali pizza as well. It's just better.
Right.
We have casseroles. We have casserole pizza, deep dish pizza. It's good.
Yeah,
but it's not pizza. Yeah. It's a casserole.
Well, Chicago also has a thin crust scene, though, right?
Sorry.
Chicago also has a thin crust scene. It's not even though you're known for deep dish, but there's also
we call it tavern style, like the tavern style super. So you have the Vito and Nick's, which is good.
It that here too.
Yeah, and it's good. It's fine, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's a pizza. It's fine.
He's not incriminating himself.
My dad lived in New York for 9 months or something like that in the early 80s. And back then you could get a cheese pizza, I think a pepperoni and a combination. That was it. And he still to this day says he's never had pizza since. So
I'll tell you what, Pennsylvania, there's a lot of Italians in Pennsylvania. And if you go, there's a place I had around Hershey where you went in and it was like $2.50 for a slice. And one slice was like, it was real thin crust.
A quarter of a pizza.
And that was probably the closest thing. Now, I went down to Atlantic City, on the Jersey Shore, south of Jersey, Ocean City. And they had some really good pie down there. But that's about the closest I've ever had to like traditional New York thin crust, But I like my medium-sized crust because that's the Ohio style.
But that's how it was served
That's meat
forever.
to it.
All this
Yeah.
thin crust and all that stuff came later. It was just a regular pie crust, like the original, or this place calls it the
Yeah,
original
without
pan
yeast. I didn't
crust.
have,
Or
so it
this
was
or
just
that.
lack of yeast in the old days. Because, like, I mean, I know that's what makes our crust so fluffy is just like all the yeast they add to it. Because then, like,
It's also
they'll let it
it,
rise and then they'll
it
bake it.
well, it also depends on how you work it. So gluten, which
Break
makes
the power
stuff
down and
work,
reverse it. It's your friend.
is
It's your
all
friend. Yeah.
is time and kneading. So the more you work it and then you let it rest, work it, let it rest, the bigger that's going to be because you form more gluten molecules. So
I
It's
love
true.
gluten.
it's true.
It is
Receipts.
true.
Oh,
It
here
is
we go.
true.
Okay,
And a
Ben,
lot, and a lot, and a lot
if
of
you're
people
gonna be
are
a
the
fixture
cold
around
proofing,
here,
not cold proofing, throwing it in the fridge, taking it out of the fridge. Just everybody's got their own method.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it's depending on
and
like
no
when
great
you
pizzeria will share their method. Zero.
never.
Never.
Nope.
I
Yeah.
want to figure it out.
I see a lot of people are saying Pennsylvania has good pizza. Jersey has good pizza. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
everybody has good pizza, but it's because you don't know what pizza is.
Well, some of the best Italian food I've ever had.
No,
has been
listen
at
to me.
a
Pizza
Pennsylvania
was
restaurant.
originated in
Really?
Italy.
Pennsylvania? Italian
Swear
food?
to God. Well, a lot
Yeah.
of coal mining steel towns out there. A lot of Italian immigrants came in, so there's a lot of Italian places,
Got it.
and there's a lot
Yeah.
of BYOB places where you have to bring your own booze. And
Yeah.
one time I went to one and I didn't know that, and I was like, "Can I get a glass of like a beer or wine or whatever?" And they're like, "Oh, it's BYOB," and they're like, "You didn't bring any?" And I'm like, "No." Chef brought a bottle out. He's like, "You got to have a glass of vino with our food."
Oh, that's cool.
That was
That
like the
is,
most authentic like
that's
experience I've ever. That was
that
in North.
is
That was North Philly at a place. I couldn't tell you what it was, but yeah, you
Was
walk
he
in.
Italian? Like was
Oh
he
no,
Italian?
no, seriously. You
yeah,
walk
he
in,
had to
dainty
be. Had to
lighting,
be.
families were meeting in the corner.
Okay.
Like
Those
no one
no.
had their
You
back in the
cannot have
door
the
ever.
pizza unless you have with a vino. I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was
exactly.
like, but no, they're like, listen, we're giving you this bottle of wine to have at dinner. We're like, no, we can't accept it. I was like, no, the chef insisted that you have
Yeah.
this. And that was like, all right, cool.
Be-
But yeah,
so-
Hershey, Pennsylvania, there's a really good places.
So that's one thing about some of the old style cooking and tapas, why they serve the vermouth or the cider or the wine they serve, is because that is 100% part of the experience. If you got to sip on something because it accents the flavors, it's part of the experience. Like look, over in Spain they pour their ciders from like 2 feet above because of the
Yeah.
aeration. They're not just
Yeah.
doing that to be like, oh, it's not like flare bars like in Vegas, like, oh,
Right.
so you feel good about paying $45 for a drink. It's because there's a reason for this. There's like, hey, you're not eating that without at least this vino. Man, that just screams authenticity to me.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And they just have their method. They know exactly what aerates.
Right.
I mean, same thing as as putting wine in a decanter. That's exactly how you aerate the cidre, so it tastes, as it should.
Right.
Absolutely.
That like people don't understand. They're like, oh, I got head on this beer. Like, well, actually, they did that on purpose.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
when
Right.
you understand food or beverage, and that's one thing that's one thing I want to go to Spain because there's so much different. And granted, I mean, I live in California. One of the best like high-end tapas, fancy dining restaurants is right here. I believe you even worked for the man or alongside or under him, Thomas Keller, the French Laundry. Like,
Yeah.
Small plates, but some of the most mind-blowing food you've ever seen in your life, like the dishes we just showed of yours right here. It's
Well, that is. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no, please.
I will. I would
Interrupt everybody,
never
sorry.
ever compare my
I
food to
was not
Thomas
trying.
Keller.
Yeah, no, I
He
would
is
not. Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. He is probably. I mean, even Gordon Ramsay's sort of like, all right,
Right.
like
I'm obsessed with TK. Obsessed with TK.
It's it's not just the way he cooks. It's almost the same. He's almost the Marco Pure White of the States. He's so philosophical, so in tune with all of that, and what he's done, and he was able to sustain the French Laundry for so long.
How many years now?
It's incredible. Oh my gosh! And how many people?
95? It was something like
I
that.
I don't remember the year that he opened.
It was a long time ago.
Very long time ago. But how many people have come out of that kitchen is incredible. It's nuts. Same thing with Charlie Trotter. Same thing with Grant Atkins. I mean, same thing with Eric Repair at Le Bernardin. I mean, tons of people. But yeah, Thomas Keller is insane. So are you close to San Diego? Urban Wood is probably my favorite restaurant. Probably my top 5 favorite restaurants in the world.
San Diego is about 8 hours and 20 minutes from me.
Okay,
Johnsy, if it's his top 5, Johnsy, you got to go.
Why do you think I'm asking more questions? What was the name of it again?
It's called Urban Wood.
Urban Wood. Okay.
Urban Wood.
It's like herbs you put on.
Yeah, herbs and then wood. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal restaurant.
Okay.
Well, this is a story for another time. My friend gave me a ton of edibles before we sat down, and halfway through they kicked in. Well, he didn't realize how strong they were because he gave us the wrong dosage.
So he didn't realize. Yeah, I got it.
So 2 glasses of wine later, and main course comes, and I can't feel my feet. So it turned out to be one of the greatest meals of my life. But beforehand, I mean, the scenery is stunning, and it's a beautiful restaurant, and the chefs are great.
Yeah, San Diego has some incredible spots, right? So,
incredible.
So private chef.
Yeah,
because you've been around Thomas Keller. I just got to bring this up. When Anthony Bourdain went there, Thomas Keller was like in the back of that trip. He goes, "Hey, Anthony's probably going to want a cigarette right now." So he made some cream with a Marlboro cigarette on this nice little midway course, and it completely curbed his cigarette. Like private chef, like I know we're not comparing, we're not doing none of that kind. We're just talking. And I mean, you got it quiet. We pulled up some of the pictures. You like working on the fly like that. Like how do you even how does that even compute in your head to do stuff like that? How does that work for a chef?
I will say that I can throw down when I need to. I love the technique that he does, and we can throw down like that if it's expected of us and if we have enough time. Granted, Thomas Keller does have probably 15 to 18 chefs in his kitchen that are under his command at any time that are like, yes, chef, make a Marlboro cigarette, go. And he's done. But when it's me and 2 other people, or if it's just me at someone's house, and they're like, but yeah, I mean, as a chef, if you have, and this is a term that everybody knows now, if you have the mise en place, if you have the prep behind you or in front of you, and you have the insight and the knowledge, the discipline, whatever it is, to work on the fly like that, yeah, if somebody's like, it's very rare that somebody's like, where you have a planned menu or you have a degustation menu like Keller does or Trotter did or, Curtis Duffy does, then somebody goes, I want this, and then I think today most chefs would be like, cool, you're paying for the degustation menu. This is what you're getting. But it is in our discipline. It's part of the method behind being a chef to be like, okay, whatever you want.
Yeah, like,
and then you turn to your team and say, how can we get this accomplished?
Right.
If it's just me, it's probably be more difficult because this is what we have to work with. Because we've already brought our mise en place to the person's property or on site or whatever. But if you have a kitchen like Keller does, full of just a plethora full of just magical ingredients, you can whip up some pretty cool stuff.
Right.
And I mean, how cool. And plus it's Anthony Bourdain. You're not going to say no to Tony Bourdain.
It was just like the thought of a chef on that level, which and I'm again not comparing, but obviously you've, you know, 20, 25 years in the industry, you
Yeah.
know, we're not talking about some guy who cooked in some kitchens here, right? So just the level of being able to think like on the fly, like you show up, you have your basic idea, you got your stuff, but they're like, hey, what could you do this? And you're like, "Brrr," and you come up with this like one of those dishes we showed that was just like off the fly. Like, I
It's
mean, I,
almost like
I try to think out
yes,
of the box and be fancy, and I'm,
yes.
it's just
You can
wild
totally
what you
do it.
guys do.
Yeah, I mean, you can totally do it, but I compare cooking, at least at this level or that level, to almost any trade, or like, being a craftsman, working with wood. Somebody's saying on the fly, I want this, and you go behind a saw, or you have whatever it is, or a sculpture, and being like, I want it this way. It's almost the same thing. If you have the discipline and you have the product,
Okay,
you can
you're right.
create.
Okay,
you
yeah, I could.
know
Yeah,
but if you are lacking either one of those, you can't. But for most of the time, yeah, I mean, in a restaurant, if somebody goes, I really, even if it's not on the menu, somebody goes, we would love, do you guys have like a truffle mac and cheese, or like, can you come up with something like that? But truffles are in season, we have truffles, and we have pasta. Obviously we can make pasta. Sure, it'll chart. It's going to cost you. Just like
right.
when at Harvey's and Marco Pure White, and then I forgot what food critic, he came in and said, "You know what I want? I don't want your menu. I just want some fries." And he goes, "Okay."
But
At
that's gonna cost you.
130 pounds, or whatever that is, equates to today, or I think it's
It's
probably
like
150 bucks,
$180 or something like that,
180
probably.
bucks for a side of fries. No problem. Whatever you want, sir. But yeah, I mean, I think but to create something on the fly, or to create dishes like that, yeah, I mean, if you have the product, you have the mise en place, you have the discipline, you have the knowledge, yeah, you can create some cool stuff. um
So that leads to a good question. And then we'll get to Damon and Tony here. How how long does it take to round out those skills of just knowing like, okay, this can go with this can go with this. Now I know a few things. Like I know some basic, Spanish Mexican style cuisine, some
yeah,
basic Asian cuisines, definitely heavily Italian and American and Eastern European or whatever. But just knowing like, hey, someone's like, man, I'm really feeling. I know you brought pork and stuff, but we're really feeling some fruity, and you're like, oh, I'll do a rosemary plum sauce with these blah 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 blah, and then we'll serve it with this reduction with these radishes, and like how long does it take us regular folk to get there?
I mean, I think you kind of already answered the question. I mean, I think, one, you have to have a passion for it. You have to kind of be
Right.
already in it. you know um I think somebody who has zero skill, who's never held a knife, who has no pans, who can, it'll take somebody much longer than that if they actually enjoy it. Just like any profession, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to be successful at it. No matter how hard you try, there's going to be some obstacle that prevents you from doing it. So you have to have a passion for cooking first, for sure. I think
Right.
from there, that will instill motivation and the desire to create, and the desire to know more.
Right.
So I think, if I think anybody has it within them to cook. I think everybody does. I think it's just how badly do you want to create? Do you want to make scrambled eggs, or do you want to create Michelin style food? I think the middle road for just anybody today is, cooking for their family, cooking for their group of
Right.
friends. Grabbing that roast. Just like that question before. Having that chuck roast that we're braising for 6 hours. Or short ribs or whatever it is. With some roasted vegetables, and then reducing the sauce down and making some simple mashed potatoes, versus you know making a mosaic of scallop and swordfish and tuna, and compressing it and doing some, crazy, cool stuff. It depends on I guess it depends on what you want to do. But for the average person to create food like Curtis Duffy does, or Charlie Trotter, I mean, I'll throw myself in there. It's almost, you gotta want it, you gotta be in it. It takes tons of hours to master a skill. So it takes tons of hours, no matter what trade you're doing. It's tons of trial and error. But the cool thing about food is you can eat along the way. You can eat and drink along the way, which is the coolest part, about learning about wine, learning about food. You screw up a recipe, it may not taste the best in the end, but at least you're tasting along the way. And that's the biggest thing too. A lot of people don't taste along the way. A lot of people taste at the end, but if you don't taste along the way, you're not going to know what it tastes like at the end. So
True.
you have to taste along the way. And if you don't season to the max, while you're cooking, that's also an issue. People forget to season. It's the biggest part of cooking is seasoning.
What is true season?
Salt. It's salt.
My man, that we preach that here. Everything else is flavoring and all that. If you say, "Oh, this is over seasoned," it's too much salt. If you say, "Oh, this isn't seasoned that well," you didn't have enough salt.
Yeah, and a big thing about salt. I mean, and I think you guys got the wrong guy in the show. You don't know this, but I can talk for 5 hours about this stuff. If you season from a height, if you watch
us with a good time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can do this. Did you hear that I actually responded to this. The Salt Bay guy is going to open a restaurant in Rome, and my comment was nobody in Rome cares.
Yeah,
no one cares about this.
I guarantee no one in Italy at all. The whole
nobody cares.
Frick.
No, in Florence and Bologna, the Bistecca Fiorentina, they're like, and
I guarantee in Sardinia they're even less.
Yeah, who's this guy?
Good for you. Yes. But if you season, season from a height, or throw the salt down on whatever you're seasoning because it disperses evenly. A lot of people season too close, so you find these pockets of salt or it's over seasoned. But if you watch Marco Pure White, he'll throw the seasoning down and it disperses evenly. Yeah, it's almost a rain of salt, and that's how we season our restaurants, from a height like this. Same thing with the pepper too.
In dashes, folks.
That's it. I mean, if you're seasoning, stuff for barbecue, of course, half the seasoning you're putting on a grill is going to wash away. But if you're seasoning for something that's going in a pan, I also have another trick. I should share it. Again, we're going on completely different tangents. At least I am. We use a demi-glace rub for beef, or you can use a Knorr paste. And we rub that on the beef, and that creates a crust, which doesn't wash away. So you don't even have to season with salt and pepper. We'll season a steak with just Knorr, or you can get better than bouillon and rub that on your steak. And there is your seasoning.
Folks, pro tips.
I shouldn't have let that go because that's one of my secret tips. But write that down.
Yeah, and writing it. We clipped it. It'll be a podcast clip available this week.
Yeah. But yeah, if you get a demi-glace powder or a stock paste, and I mean, I'm not the first one to think about it. I mean, like I said before, Marco Pure White, living vicariously through him, through all of his things, has taught me a ton.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, so
I watch Marco Pure White.
On your Instagram, you actually have a picture with Marco.
Yeah.
So you got
the guy's super cool. I did. I got to cook with him on the stage as well. We made risotto milanese.
Out of here.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, it was awesome. It was super cool. It was a highlight.
So you literally have worked with all the top chefs.
I met and cooked the man who made Gordon Ramsay cry in the corner.
Right.
So I can officially say,
that's a fact.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you met literally my plating hero, TK. So
he's phenomenal. It's ridiculous. He's phenomenal.
I also admire about the way private chefs or Tapas, or like the States version of fine dining tapas. Like, I know there's a place in Seattle that does it. TK. I know there's another place on the East or Midwest somewhere, but that really it's basically tapas. It's small plates of really, really, but insanely fancy bougie dishes, right?
Yeah.
Oh no.
What happened?
Well, I lost my train of thought. That's that ADHD kicking in. Sorry, chef.
Technical difficulty.
No, it's okay.
What were we talking about?
I'll smoke what you're smoking.
What were we talking about?
Pall Malls, 1000s.
They're this long?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Negative.
You see them things like pulling out like King Arthur's
Bro,
sword.
these are Newport shorts. These are Newport shorts.
Oh man, those are rough.
Yeah, hey, we don't
God
fuck
bless.
around. We don't fuck around
No,
here.
Yeah.
we call those man sticks.
Hey, so no joke. Hey, kitchens.
Marble Reds are
Hey,
cowboy killers.
chefs are different breeds. Chefs are different breeds. There was this one I worked with, Nim Roger, and shout out. We worked at this Italian kitchen together. I was like a dishwasher, dessert chef. I would prep all the desserts. I do a bunch of their mise en place, like sous chef shit for them during the day. Hang out with all the cooks, right? Just super chill. Was friends with the owner, like killer job for me at the time. But this guy Roger, I would always go out on my smoke break about the same time as Roger. So I'd be out there and I'd be about halfway through my cigarette. Roger would come out, wave at me, light his. I would see him take like maybe 5 drags, usually about 4, and toss it. And I'm like, man, this guy's just wasting money throwing away these cigarettes. And I walk over and there was a lick of cigarette.
and the filter's gone.
Yeah, it's starting to melt the filter.
Yeah.
The chef's life is like, bah, bah, bah. You guys are just a different breed, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think now I'm trying to concentrate a lot more on fitness. I used to be a bodybuilder as well, but I used to smoke a long time ago. I grew up in the 90s, so I was a big, I mean, I'm big into 80s music and I listen to metal as a classical.
You had a good time, right?
Dave Matthews stuff. So I'd smoke 2 packs at a Dave Matthews show. And then my wife would say, when we were dating, said, "Look, if you don't quit, we're done." And that was the day that I was done. But I do smoke cigars, and I love cigars. So I try and do at least a good cigar.
I don't care what anybody says. That's different. Cigars are different. I love stogies.
Yeah, stogies are awesome. Yeah, wine and stogies is my jam. So
bourbon stogies, wine stogies.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we've been going at this an hour and a half. Damon and Tony, final questions for the brilliant Chef Benjamin here.
Yeah. I mean, the rabbit hole we went down. But Chef, when you began all this, did you see yourself where you're at right now? In the beginning,
very good question. To be honest with you, no, I didn't. I thought I would go down. I didn't know I sort of had the entrepreneurial bug. I really wanted to branch out, and that came a lot earlier than I anticipated. I thought that I was going to be, I knew that I wanted to be an executive chef, and I wanted to climb up the ladder as we all do and do our thing, like everybody does. But I didn't think that I'd get the entrepreneurial bug early on. And I think, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But I'm glad I did. And so far, knock on wood, we're doing an okay job.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Tony looked like
Tony's out.
Are you?
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh! Are you with us, Tony?
That was a rough pause there.
That was.
Blink twice if you're okay.
Are you here?
I'm so over this internet tonight. I'm about to take this computer and throw it up against this wall. That's what
I know. But hey, you're with us right now. So ask your final question for Ben.
It's getting even better.
Oh man! Hey, ask it now. Go
now.
Yeah. What type of food across the world have you not dove into that you want to dive into more going into the future?
That's awesome. Shit. Indian food.
Ooh.
Tons of spices.
God, dude,
you guys follow Pavna Lakshmi from Top Chef? Not only is she obviously beautiful, but she's an incredible cook. And the spices the indigenous crazy spices from India.
Insane.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. I have no idea where to start. It's incredible. I mean, you got cardamom, you got clove, you got cinnamon, but then you get these crazy leaves and the curry stuff and just all this stuff over here that nobody knows what the F to do with. It's nuts. So that would be something that I'd love to dabble on. Asian food, not so much. Not that I don't enjoy it. It's just not something that I've really touched on. It's not anything against anybody who loves that sort of food, but I love sushi. But I'm not real hip on of digging into the
I
Asian
feel
foods.
like everybody who wants to do
Although India is close to Asia, but it's just
but I feel like anybody
not
who
the
wants to do fusion or anything
right,
has already done all that, right?
right, yeah. That's a really good question. Indian food for sure.
Last one for me, real quick. Favorite American region of barbecue?
Ooh.
I think everybody's gonna hate me.
Tony's trying to start fights right now. He's trying to
Yeah,
start a
it
riot.
wouldn't be me not to. Now that I got my internet's working for 30 seconds, let's stir the pot.
Oh man.
Oh, he's going to disappoint everybody.
I would say Tennessee barbecue.
No, Memphis style is amazing.
Memphis style,
I love
yeah.
Memphis barbecue.
Yeah, probably Memphis style. But then again, I haven't.
Memphis
Damon,
Memphis
hey,
rub is
it was
good.
nice
Memphis
having
rub
you
is
on the
good.
show tonight. We love you, brother. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. He's gonna, he does that South Carolina stuff.
I got it. I know. I had to pick one, so that was the one that
Memphis.
came to me first.
I like and where you're at in Chicago, Memphis isn't too far away from you. So
Right.
It's probably the most regional. That in Kansas City, you're probably closer to Memphis than you are KC. So
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
I think so.
I don't know. I like a good Memphis rub. I like the little tanginess and the sweetness of it. I think it's a good balance for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, no,
But I have not been to the Salt Lick in Texas yet, though. So
well,
I do want to go there.
Hey, stop it with the Texas stuff. That's a sore
Yeah,
subject on this show.
It's not.
Is it? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't listen to him, man. It's not the tell-alls. I mean, just
like
saying.
I'm just saying.
Is that for a different show?
Look, here's the deal. We all know Texas thinks it's king of barbecue, but let's, whatever.
I know you guys have a bunch of barbecue stuff going on,
No,
but I do
also
want to
have
go just to experience it. I haven't yet. So
I would love to go to Salt Lick. Absolutely, that big open pit they do, like
right, that whole crazy thing. Yeah, I want to see that.
That's open fire kind of barbecue that I can absolutely get behind.
Maybe
definitely agree with you. We just have a lot of good friends from Texas that we can't let them. We always gotta just. Texas isn't the best, okay, at everything. So settle down, and we got to remind them of that.
Well, awesome. Is there anything else? Seriously, you guys are awesome. This is fun. This is super fun.
No,
I can't imagine what else to do on a Sunday night but this. Have a bottle of wine and talk to you guys.
We are going to talk to you a little further. Don't go away. We're going to talk to you after the show ends. But ladies and gentlemen, we've taken enough of your time. Don't forget, all the podcasts start posting on wherever you listen to your podcasts starting Monday and Thursday. Our shows pick up again with the late night parlay. What do we got? Literally just found you guys like 10 minutes ago. Loving it. You guys got yourself a new sub from the UK, baby. Across the pond.
Hey,
awesome.
International.
Thank you so much.
Worldwide.
Wide. And we'll be back again on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday again next week. Again, everybody, round of applause for Chef Ben here.
Chef Ben, man, what a dude! I'm so glad I'm so glad it worked out to where we got linked up and you're able to come on, because this, as you could tell, Johnsy was excited very profusely throughout the entirety of the show.
It's all good. It's my pleasure, guys.
No, man, it's been a blast, man. We're absolutely blessed to have the guests we do, and you definitely brought a whole new dynamic that we've never had on here. So thank you so much, Chef, for exposing your world and letting us tap into it for an hour and a half for sure.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Stick around. Don't leave yet, Ben. We'll be right back.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the new sub across the pond. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you guys all next time.